Can we say that the president does not have enough information?
It's possible. He will be a lot of things will be shielded from him. Would the president have knowingly allowed something like the Prince Adeniyi matter to happen? I want to believe that there is a wall, there is a barrier. They filter the things that get to him.
Mr. Tinubu's job of anybody. I had opportunity in this your program to remind Nigerians that as bishops, we have no ambitions to take Mr. Tinubu's job of anybody else's job. We are not politicians running for office. We are first and foremost religious leaders who feel we have a duty, not just to preach our religious doctrines, but also to address the lives of our people, both those who are our members and those who are not our members. You can see that from the content and the tone of our statement.
So you become like liberation theologians?
No, not at all. Liberation theologians can be considered more or less ideological.
Welcome back from that video. You know, the bishop said a lot that we cannot capture right now, but then let's start with this. He said this current administration, the president, is determined to win by all means. You know, do you think it's a political statement or is a statement that requires the national attention?
Now, it is both political and requires a national attention. The Catholic bishops, as we know them, for those who have followed the trajectory of this country, beginning from the military and so on, Catholic bishops don't mince words. They come, they tell you the truth. They did it to Abacha. It's historical. We know it. And we know that some of them even go for it. They kill priests. We know this. So, when he said that this government wants to win at all costs, we have all seen it. It's been said by other people. Complaints have been made. They've said the INEC had done a few things. Look at what is happening in the courts. Look at the appeal courts reprimand. In fact, trashing Justice Peter Lifu for some judgments that are unbecoming. We have seen people complain about INEC. There were even inquiries about previous posts made on X by INEC chairman and so on and so forth. Political parties had said it time and over again that they don't want them to be registered. Look at what NDC went through. It took a lot. And what were they arguing about? They said the two-finger symbol of that party is looking like the broom of the All Progressives Congress. I don't know how two fingers will look like a broom. And because of that, they delayed the registration of that party until the Supreme Court had to intervene. So thankfully, the Supreme Court didn't see the broom looking like two fingers. So the party was registered. And after that, the problems continued. African Democratic Congress is battling its own. The PDP is completely obliterated, kind of. So when you aggregate all those things and look at how the National Assembly has been behaving, bring all those things together, it will tell you that yes, the present government doesn't even want to tolerate opposition. They don't want to hear anything outside what they tell us or outside what they want us to hear or outside what they feel we should be telling them. So I want to agree with the bishop, the cardinal, on that. Then on the other side, which is not political, it is also believed because the preponderance of opinions. See what's happening in Osun. The only problem people in Osun are talking about is the problem the APC is giving them. So it tells you that in a way, everything points to one direction and the same direction, which is what this government doesn't want to hear and which this government doesn't want people to see. So I want to believe that what he said is both political and it's structural. Structural is even social. It comes with everything that is worrying this country as we are today.
All right, let's take a look at what Daniel Bwala said. He said that the bishop supported a particular candidate in 2023 elections, that's Peter Obi, and that's why he's saying all of this. He thinks he's not even speaking for the Christians. He's speaking for the Catholics alone.
Okay, if he speaks for the Catholics, I think he's worth speaking for Catholics. Forget the fact that Peter Obi is a Catholic, so he wouldn't have come here to campaign for Peter Obi. But let's even keep that aside. When this same Bishop John Cardinal Onaiyekan was pillorying Goodluck Jonathan, who was in PDP then, and the APC was was in the embryo, and the ACN and so on were all hailing him. Who was he supporting? You know, when the tables turned, when Daniel Boala was even on the other side at that time, and they were all hailing this. So what I'm trying to say is that he should not even say, if he speaks for Catholics, there are at least 17 archdioceses in Ibadan, in Nigeria, 17 Catholic archdioceses, meaning that you have more than 1.7 million Catholics in this country. You know, just take the archdioceses alone, then not to talk of the dioceses and the parishes. So it means you have loads and loads of Catholics who are voters, who are politically aware, who are politically active, who have candidates, who have supporters. A Catholic priest is a governor in one state. That's to tell you the strength of the Catholic Church in this country. So if he speaks for Catholics, he has the right. He is entitled to an opinion. If he supports Peter Obi, so be it. What is wrong with him supporting Peter Obi? You know, however, are the things he said true? Are they fundamentally verifiable? Are those things, do they resonate with the people? Those are the questions Daniel Boala should answer. He should leave the messenger and address the message. That's Cardinal John. If he looks into the trajectory of the Cardinal, even before the Onaiyekan became Cardinal John Onaiyekan, he was the Archbishop of Abuja.
Okay.
He was in Ilorin, and from Ilorin till the time he became the Archbishop, till he was elevated to the throne of a cardinal, he had always been speaking, even to governors. So I don't know why this government is so averse to criticism. It is wrong. They should at least always listen and not. You see, one of the opinions they have against him is that the president received them in audience, and he now went to speak about the audience they had with the president in the public.
Was that a breach? Because Daniel Bonda mentioned that it was a breach.
It was a breach of his priestly. No, it's not, because the audience was, there was a photograph. There was a report of the audience. Oh, not a report. There were reports of the audience. We had TV reports. We had it on the social media. We had it in newspapers and so on, of that same audience. So what is now the secret in an audience you granted to Catholic Bishops' Conference? And there are many of them. So, you see, I remember when in 2014, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Ibadan Ecclesiastical Province, they have Oyo, Ekiti, Ondo, that's Akure, Catholic Diocese of Akure, Ilorin, and Ibadan, Catholic Archdiocese, Oyo, Oshogbo, Ekiti, Ilorin, and Catholic Archdiocese of Ibadan. Yes, I think I'm correct. You have them all in this province. There was in 2024, one of the first things they told this president, they told this government is, stop government by palliatives. Because that time, if they say there is a bomb blast somewhere, they'll take Christ to the place. If there is a fire incident somewhere, they'll take Christ to the place. He said, look, stop government by palliative, start doing something more concrete to give people the required hope you are trying to offer them. Give them the opportunity to understand that, yes, this government is laying a foundation for what you want to do. And this is 2026. From 2023 to 2026, we are still discussing the same issues. The government is telling us one thing, but we are seeing another. Government is talking about microeconomic indices that are rising, and the people are saying, let the macro also rise. Let us see it in the life we live. Let us see it in infrastructure. Let us see it in the things we do. Now, from there, they moved, the same Catholic bishops, to say, look, when the criticism came that you should keep to your pulpit, you don't know what governance is, and so on and so forth, it is the same people who go to church that are in government. The people who go to mosque are in government. So if you refuse to speak up, but you keep complaining to your pastor, you keep praying for breakthrough, you keep praying for all those things they keep praying for, and say people don't get, when you get your salary, the salary just dissolves in your hands. If you buy fuel once, your salary goes. It is these same people that will complain to their clerics. They are confessors, these priests. You go to confession, you tell them things. And when they now come back to tell you that, look, this is how we feel, I think they should be celebrated for even telling the truth to power.
But we have seen clerics, pastors and bishops, who come out to say this administration is actually doing well.
And
so how do we balance it?
What are the indices? Who is telling the truth? Is this administration doing well? Do we have stable electricity now as promised? What's happening to our infrastructure? Somebody traveled to Ogwashuku yesterday. They spent 7 hours in Benin City alone due to bad road. 7 hours from 10 a.m. till around 5:30, 6:30 before they could leave Benin bypass up to Benin Asaba Road. Infrastructure. But Dave Umahi is working, doing the things he is doing. But all those palliative measures, where are they?
The president also mentioned recently that the governors should focus on roads and leave flyovers.
They should. Okay, if the governors decide to do the federal roads, it is this same government that said, don't touch federal roads, we're not going to pay you. So it's a bunch of contradiction, this government. All I'm trying to say is that the Catholic bishops also spoke about security. Security, the economy, infrastructure, the social issues. Now, take security, even single out security. Because I know the president also responded on that point by point. They even spoke about INEC. The fact that people don't trust the INEC. Now, when they spoke about security, the government said, look, we are doing a lot, we have done this, we have done that, and so on. How many? Only last Thursday, a priest was stabbed to death by some bandits. They didn't shoot, they stabbed. He was going for a mass. Why am I saying this? These Catholic bishops know the number of priests they have lost to insecurity. We know what happened at the junior seminary in Kaduna, where they took 2 of the seminarians. One of them is 18 years old. When they said, okay, release them, one was going, the other one was going. They told one to wait, he waited, and they said the other one should be going. The second one that said, oh yeah, they said, oh yeah, yourself, follow. And as he was going, they shot him from the back and killed him. And then called his superiors to come and pick his body. These are same priests who have mothers, brothers and sisters. They have parishioners. They have priests under them who report to them what they see every day at confessionals, at mass, at normal discussions. They watch TV. They listen to the radio. So you cannot claim that they do not know because they are in Kasok. I remember very well when this same Daniel Boala and co were cheering on Bishop Matthew Hazan Kuka. When was the last time we heard from him? And like, is it Hananiah, the prophet Hananiah, who was eating from the king's table, who refused to speak the truth? Things like that happen. Now, Nigerians no longer want to hear Matthew Kuka. They will say, no, this one is government.
What about Father Mbaka?
Same thing. Nigerians are like, oh, no, because they look like they have been tainted.
But recently he called on the president to please release, Nnamdi Kanu so that there can be peace in the southeast.
He will always speak. Because when he speaks, people will listen. And when they listen, to implement to do what he called for is another thing entirely. All I'm trying to say is that they should not think that these priests are some aloof group of people somewhere.
So you're saying they have a right to speak?
They have a right to speak. They are citizens. They vote. I was queued on the same... I didn't know. I wasn't queued. I covered the Ekiti elections so very much. And there was a day I had to tell the Catholic Bishop of Ekiti Diocese, Ajakai, Felix Ajakai. I say, my Lord Bishop, why will you stand on the queue when even the police, they beg him, say, go and vote and go? He said, no, let me take my turn. He was on the queue. He had a hat on to cover him, shield him from the sun. And one of the complaints, because I had to write his story, one of the complaints, one of the things he noticed was that people were collecting money to vote. And he said, are these the people who are looking for good governance? You can't be collecting money and voting. They vote. So they exercise their civil rights, they pay tax. They have so many people under them. And these are the same, they buy fuel. They run homes. There is a Catholic home for the needy in this Ibadan. We have minimum of 300 people are fed every day.
So at what point does it become interference? This is why I'm asking this question. In 2023, some northern clerics, they declared public support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and their pictures went viral. That time, the bishops, even some came out to say, these are fake bishops, they are not true bishops. So, and then it was not interference. It was not tagged as interference then. So now that some clerics, the bishop, and I even remember Bishop David Oyedepo, who is even not a Catholic, is also speaking on this administration. So at what point does it become excessive interference? When religious leaders, decide to say something about governance?
Is there excessive interference? Like I was coming up with, these are the same people who listen to their congregants day in, day out. They pay salaries. They buy fuel. They buy equipment. They run homes. So they operate within the same economy. Communion wine used to be sold for 6,000 naira. Communion wine. I think the brand is called Seven Apostles. Seven Apostles, communion wine used by Catholics, used to sell for 6,000 naira. But now that communion wine is 18,000 naira. That's 300%. And they will need it for the daily sacrifice of the Mass. And who are the people bringing out the money to buy these things? The parishioners for whom Bishop Kuka, Cardinal Onaiyekan are speaking, Oyedepo are all speaking for. It is the same people. Daniel Ebuala, maybe by his name, is a Christian. He will go to church. The the president said that they had always been poor. The poor will always, he is trying to echo Christ.
I mean, the bishop said the president does not like to hear the truth. That was what Bishop Onaiyekan said.
Well, I agree. Because from the reactions that have trailed his interview now, you know that they don't want to hear the truth. I'm sorry, I have to. Their body is repulsive to they are allergic to the truth.
Do you think it's because of a lacuna? This is why I'm saying this. Because this popular podcaster, Jude, he said the first time he went to Transcorp Hilton, the luxury, that was, there. It would be difficult for anybody who is not in that space to think that Nigerians are suffering. And if you look at the senators, the politicians, that's why they don't understand when an average Nigerian come out to say that I am suffering. So how do we balance it? How do we ensure that the president is aware of the struggles of Nigerians?
I think that's one of the things pointed out by Cardinal Onaiyekan. He said from the face of the president, they could see that he was uncomfortable with what he was hearing. And these are people, that speech he heard, it's written and signed by Ndagoso, the new president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference. What it means is that this truth we are telling you is written. Our imprimatur is on it. Our names are on it. Hold us by these things we have said. That is one group of people, bold enough. In fact, I'm sure they will be regretting granting the Catholic bishops an audience. Because they are different from the bishops you pick on the streets who wear all kinds of things and call it clerical clothes. They are different. These are people who have names. These are people who have given their lives. These are people who have chosen a path and they are sticking to it. We know. Look, before now, during the military, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself should know. Bishop Okogie was a thorn in the flesh of the military until they blackmailed him into silence. But he wasn't even silent also, because people know. This Matthew Hazan Kuka got popular because of the way he spoke against bad policies of government and all anti-democratic elements. They knew. So when he granted them an audience, perhaps he was expecting a situation in which the people with whom he operated from the other side have come to say, okay, do it this way, don't do it this way. But when they came up with their own truth, with what they think should be what they think the president should know, he became worried. All the people, I'm sure many people in that arena would be uncomfortable as they spoke. And these are people, let me call them fearless. Of course, they are being killed. So what is it they are afraid of again?
Can we say that the president does not have enough information?
It's possible. He will be a lot of things will be shielded from him. Would the president have knowingly allowed something like the Prince Adeniyi matter to happen? I want to believe that there is a wall, there is a barrier. They filter the things that get to him. Well, from the statements echoed by Bayo Onanuga, he said no, that he has layers of friends who tell him the truth. Okay? If he has layers of friends who tell him the truth, don't they tell him how people feel on the street? Which the bishops also said. So why would he hear from friends, layers of people who tell him the truth, but won't want to hear it from clerics who are overseeing people? There are places, I know priests that go to ungoverned places to administer the sacraments. And when they do and come back, they will come to urban parishes to say, please, there are places where you will park your motorcycle or bicycle and you will have to trek for like an hour to get to those places. And priests go there, they pull their shoes. The Bishop of Enugu, Bishop Ona, had to ride a motorcycle. They carried him on an Okada to get to a place. You know why I'm saying all these things? If the president has people who tell him layers of people who tell him truth about the real situation, they should also know that the bishops who we are visiting also know layers of truth which they have added to the truth the president knows. All I'm trying to say in essence is that the president should be open to criticism. He should be open to truth. He should be open to the real situation in which the people are, so that he will be able to make his judgments properly. I'm sure with what has happened during that visit and after, he will be able to sit down and say, okay, what exactly is going on? If there was no poverty, why will Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu be telling some people to, look, use 10,000 naira, with 10,000 naira you can start to fry akara and roast corn? That's because there is poverty. Or how much can 10,000 naira do today? If 10,000 naira cannot buy you 10 liters of fuel.
Some will argue that they can still do something. I mean, if you have that, you can start pure water business or something.
Oh, nice. But that is all you have. Pure water business and all that surrounds it. And you wait for tax people to come.
In this economy. It's a lot to talk about. But before we go, Bishop also said something about INEC. He said INEC can't be independent if president still appoints its leadership. But the president has been appointing INEC chairman for decades.
Yes,
and we didn't see any problem. So what's going on now?
That's what the Constitution says, that the president will have to appoint, unfortunately. So what he's saying is that do something about constitutional amendment. Because if the president keeps appointing INEC chairman, the INEC chairman will keep on being loyal to the president. That's the unfortunate aspect of it. You know, they also spoke about handing over of schools. And the president told them that, look, that's not something you should bring to me. Take it to your state governors and so on. We know what is happening in Oyo State, for example. So if there is a voice from up there which says, okay, let's take it as a policy and drive it, it will be better for education. A lot of people agree. The Loyola College will be 72 years. Was 72 years on the 1st of August. That's the feast of St. Ignatius of Loyola. That's when the school was founded. And one of the things the old students, the old boys are asking for is hand this school over so that we can better manage it. Go into the school and see decaying infrastructure. Yes, state governments should do that. But if the president says, okay, let's look at how we can do about it, I mean, that's not something bad to ask for. Because these are the losers who lost schools. St. Finbar's College. Now, many of the schools were returned by President Tinubu himself, and he knows what he went through before he was able to do this. So if there's a presidential input, it would have been easier for this kind of things to be done. So we should try to understand the perspectives.
Will it ever happen in Nigeria where the president will no longer appoint INEC chairman?
It could. If the constitution is amended to that effect, it will happen. And these are some of the things we keep struggling. We've been on constitutional amendment since the constitution was launched in 1999. And we've been amending it up to today. Unfortunately, things are often structured to suit political situations in the country. Each president that comes will bring up the matter the way he loves, and he will toe that line, and all his aides will go that line. Unfortunately, there is no opposition strong enough to stand up and say, okay, this is how we are going to do it.
Okay. Are we having these issues because much of the 1979 was dumped into the 1999 Constitution? I mean, no, that's like, over 30, 40 years ago, and that's why we are dealing with these issues.
Unfortunately, when this constitution came into effect in 1999, not many people saw it. Not many people. In fact, I remember one senior official of that era telling me that they had to hurriedly print copies of that constitution, whether it was completed or not, so that they could have something. He said many governors were not sworn in with that constitution in 1999, and that's because it was hurriedly packaged, and that is why we keep having problems with it up till today. They know, a lot of people know that the structural problem Nigeria has today is that constitution, and if that remains, then a lot of things will keep wobbling and forming. Now, a Supreme Court judgment has said local government autonomy. But unfortunately, it's difficult implementing that judgment simply because of the Constitution.
Some governors have even come out publicly to say, I do not believe in local government
yes,
autonomy.
Governor Seyi Makinde said he doesn't believe in local government. That's because he has constitutional backing to do whatever he wants with the local government. Inside a particular frame that's given him. So he can interpret it.
Should we change this constitution? I mean, get a brand new constitution? How do we ensure accurate interpretation?
For me, as an individual, when we look at some of the conferences we've had, it was a constitution. It was a constitution that said, let's have 6 geopolitical zones, have 6 vice presidents, and let the president do a single term of 6 years. It was in a constitution that was done Ayo Ogunlade, Barnabas Gemade, and the whole Alex Ekweme and the whole. This idea of 6 geopolitical zones came from a constitutional conference, and they presented it. But when the military, Abdul Salam, wanted to leave in 1999, he took the things he loved and handed it over and left us with the problem. So we wouldn't have had the problem. In fact, I remember Fayose saying when he was governor, during his first time, it was in 2002 or 2003, before he had problems, he was impeached. He said the number one problem of our democracy, as at that time, was second term. So if that had been cleared before now, if that had been taken care of, if the constitution had been, if the military had been magnanimous enough to give us the constitution as the people that wrote it did it, then we would have been in a very good stead to be able to say, yes, it's ours. Yes, it's the people's constitution. Because from the get-go, the constitution is a lie.
It's a law. Let's conclude this matter, because from my observation about what Nigerians are saying about this matter, what Bishop Onaiyekan said, recently, the secularism of Nigeria, because we say Nigeria is a secular state, is it ambiguous in any way? This is what I'm asking, because some Nigerians have this ideology, because Nigeria is a secular state, that means religious leaders should not talk about governance, should not call out the president or the governor. Is it ambiguous in any way?
No, it's not. It's not. It's just the implementation of the ambiguity clause. The secularism clause that has messed everything up. It's always easy to find ways around stated matters, especially lawyers. Lawyers know how to do this. Now, if the bishop or the imam or maybe the traditional worshipper lives in a society, he will be expected to obey the rules of that society. So why will you cast his opinion away when he's also bound by the same laws that bound the other man who is secular. So it makes it easy for us to go straight. Listen to words of advice. Unfortunately, we cannot take it from the grassroots because it's very difficult getting to the top. But if there was a local government, you can tell the local government who operates. Penkelemes, Adegoke Adelabu was a local government chairman. And it was that powerful. So if we make our local governments that powerful again, then we may not even need the governor or governor general or even the president. But can we get back to the constitution that gave us that? That would be very difficult because the people who are eating the perks of Abuja will not want to leave it.
It's a lot to talk about, but I like the fact that you've been able to clarify that part, that Nigeria is a secular state, yes, but then religious leaders can still speak on certain issues, in the country. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuko, Deputy Editor with Nigerian Tribune, for being a part of this discussion today.